It's an early morning in 1950s America. Meet Alice, a typical 1950s American teenager. Alice is watching the morning news before school. On TV, a familiar commercial plays. Alice knows Ike is a nickname for President Eisenhower, but she wonders, why does everyone like Ike so much? She decides that today, she's gonna figure this out and become an expert on 1950s politics. Alice wants to learn about the political values of the 1950s and how the Cold War was influencing social and economic policies, but she needs your help to keep track of everything that she learns today. Alice has given you her notebook in your PDF, so you can jot down any information that she finds out today. She's already written some questions in there that she has about 1950s politics. Did you find her notebook? Great! Yum, do you smell that? Alice's mom's cooking bacon. I think she's headed to the kitchen for breakfast. Let's go. As Alice sits down for some breakfast with her family, she asks her parents why President Eisenhower is so likable.
Well, Eisenhower shares the same political values as most Americans. He is a strong leader who supports veterans, is against communism, and compromises on political issues.
Alice is intrigued to know more. She asks her dad how Eisenhower supports veterans.
Well, he's a war hero. He led the Allies in World War II. I actually met him when I fought in France. He's done a lot for veterans, like supporting the GI Bill. That's how we were able to buy this house, you know.
That's right. Plus, this Cold War is making everyone concerned about the threat of communism. Having a former military leader like Eisenhower as president makes Americans feel safer.
So Ike didn't just support veterans, he was one. During the Cold War, support for veterans and the military was an important political value. As the U.S. recovered from World War II, Americans appreciated a leader who shared these values and had experience on the battlefield. Oh, Alice just asked about Ike's stance on communism. Let's listen in.
Ike is definitely anti-communist, like most Americans. That's another reason he's so popular. Americans want to keep communism out.
In the 1950s, anti-communism was another important political value. The government promoted policies to stop the spread of communism, like the Communist Control Act, which made the Communist Party illegal. These policies made Americans feel safe from what they believed was a threat to the nation. Oh, sounds like Alice just asked about how Eisenhower deals with big political issues. Let's check in.
Well, Eisenhower is pretty moderate, which means he doesn't really choose one extreme political opinion or the other. He stays in the middle. He's like the friend who always tries to find a solution to what everyone wants. And with all this Cold War stuff going on, he's exactly what we need.
In the 1950s, Americans valued compromise. They wanted a leader who would find ways to keep the nation unified during a period of fear and anxiety. Eisenhower's compromises encouraged Americans to stick together during these difficult years. Alice is beginning to like Ike too. It seems like he exemplifies the political values of the 1950s. As she gets on the school bus, the I Like Ike jingle repeats in her mind. Pause here to complete the first page of Alice's notebook. Jot down anything to remind her of the political values of the 1950s. Alice heads into school, still thinking about Eisenhower, and wondering how he's going to make sure Americans stay safe during the Cold War. She doesn't know yet, but the Cold War has impacted social policies, which are plans the government makes to address societal issues and improve people's lives. During the Cold War, these policies were focused on education, national security, and even immigration. Oh, Alice is headed to class. Let's go. Science again? And math? Ugh. Alice is more into history, of course, so she wonders why her school is so focused on these subjects. So she asks her friend.
Didn't you hear? The Soviet Union launched their satellite Sputnik into space, and now they're making nuclear weapons. The government thinks we're falling behind in science and technology. That's why we're doing so much math and science now.
The Cold War led to policies in education, like the National Defense Education Act, which provided funding to improve education in science and math so the nation could compete with the USSR. This would lead to some major advancements in the 1960s, like the US landing on the moon. But let's check back in with Alice. But wait, what's that? Oh, it's time for a duck and cover drill. During these duck and cover drills, students had to hide under their desks and cover their heads. They were pretty scary, but a normal part of life during the 50s. The drills were enforced by the Federal Civil Defense Administration, a government organization that educated Americans about how to prepare for and survive a nuclear attack. Many social policies in the 50s focused on national security and preparedness in case the Cold War turned into an actual war. Oh, there's the bell. School's out already. After school, Alice heads to the diner with some friends to grab a milkshake. She notices her friend is talking about her current events project. Ah, perfect chance to learn more about politics.
Oh, hey Alice. I've got to head home to work on my current events project. It's on the McCarran-Walter Act. Have you heard of it? It's an immigration policy. I've got family in Eastern Europe, and because of this law, they can't move to the US.
During the 1950s, the Cold War and the fear of communism led to increased immigration restrictions. The McCarran-Walter Act allowed the government to deny entry or deport immigrants based on their political beliefs and limited immigration from countries near the USSR. Supporters of the act argued that it was necessary to prevent communist infiltration into the US and uphold national security. Alice now realizes how much the Cold War is shaping social policies. Everywhere she turns, there's a shadow of suspicion and caution that's affecting education, national security, and even immigration. She wonders, is this what it means to grow up during the Cold War? Will things ever change? Pause here to complete the second page of Alice's notebook. Jot down anything to remind her how the Cold War impacted 1950s social policies. Later that night, Alice tunes into the evening news. The news anchors discussing how the Cold War is affecting economic policies. Let's tune in too.
Good evening, America. Tonight, we dive into how this Cold War is shaping our nation's economic policies, specifically the Interstate Highway Act and the military-industrial complex. From coast to coast, from factories to freeways, America is transforming, and it's all because of our defense spending. Defense spending is when the government spends money to support the military. For example, the government is funding the building of roads and highways with the Interstate Highway Act. These highways will help move troops and equipment across the country quickly if there's a national emergency. We hope it doesn't happen, but the Soviets could attack anytime. With these highways, we're prepared. Plus, we regular Americans are benefiting from these roads. We're moving to the suburbs, getting new shopping centers, and seeing our economy grow.
In the 1950s, the Cold War led to increased defense spending, which encouraged economic activity and growth. Average Americans benefited from these policies too. They led to more economic activity, which meant more jobs and more consumer spending. Okay, let's tune back into the news.
Our military needs weapons in case this Cold War turns into a hot war. So the military pays private companies lots of money to make weapons for them. The military-industrial complex is the relationship between the military and these private companies. With so much government investment in technology and innovation, other industries benefit too. That's why we see advances in things like televisions and household appliances. While the primary goal might be national defense, we all benefit in various ways. Imagine the technologies that'll be developed in the next 10 years. With all this investment in research and innovation, who knows? Someday we might even put a man on the moon.
The focus on defense spending during the Cold War didn't just help America protect itself from the USSR, it also helped America's economy grow and contributed to technological innovations that transformed American lives. Without this investment in technology, Alice might not be able to have that cool TV, and you might not have a computer or even the internet today. Pause here to complete the third page of Alice's notebook. Jot down anything to remind her how the Cold War impacted 1950s economic policies. Wow, Alice has had a pretty interesting day, and we've learned that the 1950s weren't just about poodle skirts and rock and roll. Beneath the surface, the Cold War was quietly molding the nation's values and policies. Just like Alice, we too must strive to understand the world around us, recognizing the intricate connections that shape politics. Why? Because it's up to you to make history.
Hey.